I don't know what to say, really. 3 minutes to the biggest battle of our professional lives. All comes down to today. Either we heal as a team, or we're going to crumble. Inch by inch, play by play, till we're finished. We're in hell right now, gentlemen. Believe me. And we can stay here, get the shit kicked out of us, or we can fight our way back into the light. We can climb out of hell. 1 inch at a time. Now, I can't do it for you. I'm too old. I look around, I see these young faces, and I think, I mean, I made every wrong choice a middle-aged man can make. I pissed away all my money, believe it or not. I chased off anyone who's ever loved me. And lately, I can't even stand the face I see in the mirror. You know, when you get old in life, things get taken from you. I mean, that's part of life. But you only learn that when you start losing stuff. You find out life's this game of inches. So is football. Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, 1/2 a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us.
Hell yeah.
They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second. On this team, we fight for that inch. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch. We claw with our fingernails for that inch. Because we know when we add up all those inches, that's gonna make the fucking difference between winning and losing. Between living and dying. I'll tell you this, in any fight, it's the guy who's willing to die who's gonna win that inch. And I know if I'm gonna have any life anymore, it's because I'm still willing to fight and die for that inch. Because that's what living is. The 6 inches in front of your face. Now, I can't make you do it. You gotta look at the guy next to you. Look into his eyes. Now, I think you're gonna see a guy who will go that inch with you. You're gonna see a guy who will sacrifice himself for this team because he knows when it comes down to it, you're gonna do the same for him. That's a team, gentlemen. And either we heal now as a team, or we will die as individuals.
Former Texas Congressman, presidential candidate Ron Paul joins us this morning. Congressman, good to have you back. Good morning.
Thank you. Nice to be with you.
Man, it seems like everybody has an opinion about crypto and Libra, especially in the past 2 weeks. How do you think the needle has moved, if at all?
Well, I have a very strong opinion that I don't know what's going to happen. But no, there is a lot of talk. I'm all for cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology because I like competing currencies, but I don't know the technology. But it bothers me when you hear about governments, whether they're local governments or countries, and saying you're not allowed to do this and not allowed to do that, because historically governments always have to have a monopoly control over money and credit. Obviously, that's why we have a Federal Reserve, instead of allowing the market to operate. So it's this desire to regulate and find out, but I think that's always because the governments are afraid they're going to lose some tax revenues if they're not careful. But I'm for the least amount of regulation I don't know what's going to happen to cryptocurrencies. I think it's a great idea, and I only have one rule: no fraud. If you're going to compete with the government, but governments aren't very tolerant of competition, and they're not even tolerant with using the Constitution to compete with the fiat dollar, because gold and silver, you can't use it. So I'm for competition, and we'll have to wait and see what the market decides, along with overcoming government regulations, to see what will happen to crypto.
You said he was being transferred because he was in grave danger.
That's correct.
You said he was in danger. I said grave danger. You said, is there any
recall what I
I
said.
can have the court reporter read back to you.
I know what I said. I don't have to have it read back to me like I'm...
Why did two orders? Colonel?
Sometimes men take matters into their own hands.
Facebook, we believe, is a platform that accepts ideas across the political spectrum. It has to protect
Somewhat disagree
from
with
hate
that,
speech and others. And so that's one thing. When it comes
Listen,
to money...
I don't know. Can Milo use it? Can Louis Farrakhan use this system? They've been banned from Facebook. Can they use it? Yes or no?
Congressman?
Yes or no?
Sir, you made it clear just a moment ago that your men never take matters in their own hands. Your men follow orders or people die. So Santiago shouldn't have been in any danger at all, should he have, Colonel?
You snotty little bastard.
Your Honor, I'd like to ask for a recess.
I'd like an answer to the question, Judge.
The court will wait for an answer.
If Lieutenant Kendrick gave an order...
I don't know yet, Congressman, because we have...
If I'm a gun dealer, do I can use a $20 bill? Because, if it's a lawful gun, that happens all across America. On Facebook, you don't allow gun sales. So can a gun dealer who's abiding by American law, can they use your system?
So this is a question that is really important to get right.
That Santiago wasn't to be touched. Then why did he have to be transferred? Colonel, Lieutenant Kendrick ordered the code red, didn't he? Because that's what you told Lieutenant Kendrick to do.
Object!
And when it went bad, you cut these guys loose!
Personally, I believe that we shouldn't be in the business of telling what people can do and deciding what people can do with their money or not. But that being said, this is an important question, and we need to be thoughtful about the policy.
I think you're going to get some major pushback when we look at your network and you say who's on and who's off.
Son, we live in a world that has walls, and those walls have to be guarded by men with guns. Who's gonna do it? You? You, Lieutenant Weinberg? I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom. You weep for Santiago and you curse the Marines. You have that luxury. You have the luxury of not knowing what I know, that Santiago's death, while tragic, probably saved lives. And my existence, while grotesque and incomprehensible to you, saves lives.
But you haven't given me that, which gives me great pause and concern that the model of Libra is going to be the model of Facebook where we get to decide, and that concerns me. I'm also concerned about the data privacy and how you're going to use the data. A lot of us have had concerns about the data use on Facebook. How will you use this data? Because now what we post on Facebook and who we're friends with is one thing. How we spend our money is really powerful information. And you have access to that too.
I have neither the time nor the inclination to explain myself to a man who rises and sleeps under the blanket of the very freedom that I provide, and then questions the manner in which I provide it. I would rather you just said thank you and went on your way. Otherwise, I suggest you pick up a weapon and stand a post. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to.
This $20 bill doesn't discriminate on anything. You could be a murderer, you can say horrible things, you can say great things. This $20 bill can be used by every single person that possesses it. With regard to your network, can Milo Yiannopoulos or Louis Farrakhan use Libra?
Congressman...
And I bring that up because, both those two individuals have been banned from Facebook.
Congressman, first, I want to say that...
No, simple question. Come, this, give me, we only have 5 minutes. You got to answer a question so we can do the best job in vetting what you want to do.
I know, but we must be thoughtful about those issues, Congressman, so I'm trying to...
What you think you are entitled to?
Did you order the code red?
I did the job. Did you order the code red? You're damn right I did!
Please, the court, I suggest the members be dismissed so that we can move to an immediate Article 39A session.
You know the Bitcoiners. That is like, is that not anathema to everything that digital currency stands for? Cryptocurrencies? No, begging for centralization and people to control exactly how it works. What good is it then? Let's check the price.
Can you hear yourself?
I do hear myself. I do check the price. No, but I understand the rationale at least, and that's not what it is. Can't you use Venmo or a debit card or something?
Why from PayPal, David Mark?
Right.
Well, that's what this sounds like to me. It sounds nothing like cryptocurrency.
So using this equation on the upper left right here, I'm projecting that we need to win at least 99 games in order to make it to the postseason. We need to score at least 814 runs in order to win those games and allow no more than 645 runs.
So keep that in mind. So here we are today, and the first thing I'm going to point up, I'll throw an arrow up there so you're following along with me, is it says 8 hours. We're on 8-hour candles right now. Okay, so this is an 8-hour candle of right now today of XRP USD pairing. Okay, so as you just saw in the diagram of the cheat sheet where it has the 4 hills and the gooseneck, I'm going to give you an example of where that is on this chart, and then after this I will show you even a more detailed look of another way I was looking at it to kind of educate the viewers on what I'm looking at and why I am confident and I am willing to step up and give this one a shot, because it just shows me enough. So we have this big hill, this drop off here, and I'll put an arrow right there so you can see that. And then I want you to count with me. So we got 1 hill, we got 2, this little guy here, 3, and then the 4th is this big one. It's a drop off. It's a big mountain that drops off, pretty much big hill. And it probably should be doing that, especially when we're at a moment like this. And then we're working on a pattern down here, which should possibly turn into like this kind of gooseneck, and then we should be bursting up sometime within the next several days, probably rolling into next week.
What's this?
This is the code that I've written for our year-to-year projections. This is building in all the intelligence that we have to project players.
Okay.
It's about getting things down to one number. Using stats the way we read them, we'll find value in players that nobody else can see. Billy, of the 20,000 notable players for us to consider, I believe that there is a championship team of 25 people that we could afford, because everyone else in baseball undervalues them. Like an island of misfit toys. This guy should cost $3 million a year. We can get him for $237,000.
Clear. The U.S. welcomes responsible innovation, including new technologies that may improve the efficiency of the financial system and expand access to financial services. That being said, with respect to Facebook's Libra and other developments in cryptocurrencies, our overriding goal is to maintain the integrity of our financial system and protect it from abuse.
Do the new regulations favor traditional banks, maybe in the same way?
No, this is intended to be a level playing field, whether you're MoneyGram or you're a bank or you're an online or you're PayPal. This is intended to be a level playing field. And again, what we do encourage, and there's been a lot of financial innovation away from traditional banks, for electronic payment systems. Lots of people use electronic payment systems in dollars very effectively, And we'll continue to support those activities. We want technology to evolve.
Secretary, aren't you afraid of painting everybody with the same brush? You have some of the crypto guards that have been going to CFTC, they've been going with the IMF and Lagarde and the ECB and every regulator getting this done in the rules, and Libra sort of comes up. So you're sort of putting everybody in the same, painting the same brush for all the operators.
No, I don't think we're doing that at all. Matter of fact, as I said, one of the reasons why I wanted to speak about this is there's been lots of activity that's been going on for the last year on this. And whether it's Congress or other areas of the press, because of Libra, it's caught a lot of attention, and people weren't aware of all the work that's been going on. So that's the purpose.
Everyone wants to attack. Quit trying to attack. Let the game come to you, man. There's no clock on this thing. This is a war of attrition.
You get on base, we win. You don't, we lose. And I hate losing, Choppy. I hate it. I hate losing more than I even want to win. And there's a difference.
No bunts.
Bunt is not even third baseman's back.
No bunting whatsoever.
If someone bunts on us, just pick it up and throw it first. Don't try to be a hero and go to second. Let them make the mistakes. And when your enemy's making mistakes, don't interrupt them. They're giving you an out, man. They're just giving it to you. Take it. Say thank you. This is a process. It's a process. It's a process. Okay?
Jason takes it, goes to second for the only out, and the A's going to run.
Jermaine Dye homers again, his second in 2 games, and the A's are still hanging in. We'll get you some scores here in a moment here. The A's pull within 2 of the Angels for the wild card chase.
The Reds have now dropped 5 in a row as Oakland beats them in the beginning of this 3-game series, 5-3.
Holo walks.
Ball 4, and Hatterberg walks.
What is happening in Oakland? The A's have won 7 in a row. A lot of excitement. What a winning streak. But how about the calming influence of Art Howe?
Regulation look like to continue to spur innovation, but also protect what I would imagine are going to be increasing numbers of people and institutions that use these technologies?
Well, I think that's where Secretary Mnuchin was coming from, and that we need regulatory clarity. I mean, even what you saw from Facebook with Libra, the white paper articulates a plan of going to Switzerland to have it regulated out of Switzerland. And although they haven't spoken to the Swiss regulator, I think that was kind of the right thought of, hey, there's regulatory clarity in Switzerland. And I think the U.S. in the late 90s created clarity around how the internet should be regulated. And so I think the same thing can happen around blockchain. There are some areas where there's not certainty, but the Secretary is right that at the core, the fundamental financial regulations around KYC or Know Your Customer or AML, anti-money laundering, there has to be a level playing field both for new entrants as well as legacy entrants. And I think that's really, that I think is a fair playing field for everyone to play within.
So you're in a position to tell, so give us a peek at what you consider to be a worst case scenario. What potentially happens if you move too fast and break too many things with money versus just with data?
Well, I think you see that, and the reason why it's called terrorism financing and money laundering is, when we lower restrictions, we lower regulatory dynamics around financial transactions, you find that money flows to illicit activities. Frankly, even the earliest days of crypto were born of things like Silk Road. The good news is we've come a long way from Silk Road and those illicit use cases, and we're talking about solving real problems for real customers. And, there's still lots of speculation in the crypto market, that's clear. But I think as you and I, John, spoke about on CNBC a year ago, the long-term value of any cryptocurrency is going to be derived from the utility it delivers. And I think as time goes by, you're seeing more and more real-world use cases and real utility. And I think it's good to go beyond the hype. Even this Libra white paper, to some degree, as Morgan pointed out, we're a long way from actually knowing what that really looks like and what that really may be, because it's about a year away is their estimation of when it might launch.
The reality is, whether Facebook is involved or not, change is here. Digital currencies exist. Blockchain technology is real. And Facebook's entry in this new world is just confirmation, albeit at scale. The world that Satoshi Nakamoto, author of the Bitcoin white paper, envisioned, and others are building, is an unstoppable force. We should not attempt to deter this innovation, and governments cannot stop this innovation. And those that have tried have already failed. So the question then becomes, what are American policymakers going to do to meet the challenges and the opportunities of this new world of innovation? Some politicians want us to live in a permission-based society where you need to come to government, ask for its blessing before you can begin to even think about innovating. Those are the politicians that would rather kill it before it grows. But there are others who believe in the vibrancy of American ingenuity, American innovation, that recognizes our economy is built off of generations of entrepreneurs and innovators through competition, through testing, through tinkering, through iterating, got us here today.
Or a Seagate or an Amazon or an Airbnb or an Uber. These companies all make large numbers of small payments. Amazon has thousands of merchants that they make payments to. Uber, if you're in the Philippines and you're a driver and you need money for milk, Uber would love you to drive for them and buy milk right that day. But they need efficient payments. They need payments that are as reliable as email for that to happen. And that doesn't exist. And each of these companies employs literally hundreds of people just in their payment division. And if you imagine if you ran a payment company, you would love to go to any of these new corporates and say, hey, fire your hundreds of payment people, we'll do all your payments. But there's nobody who can do that. And so if you imagine if I want to start a regional competitor to Airbnb, let's say I want to do Airbnb just in the Boston area, but I want to take incoming payments from all around the world. The solution can't be that I hire 100 payment engineers to make that business work. That can't be the right solution. So this is going to change. This is broken, and someone is going to fix it, and this is a tremendous opportunity.
Out of there. Patty. Grab a bat, you're hitting some Bernsey. Come on, let's go. So close.
The next big breakout coin.
What Ripple really is going after is the SWIFT network, or international payment transfer.
As far as the currency devaluations, I've been complaining about that for a long time. And I believe that we will all eventually, and probably very much sooner than a lot of people understand or think, we will be all at a level playing field.
And the liquidity in digital assets could be applied to actually make that much more democratized and a level playing field.
Do the new regulations favor traditional banks, maybe in the same way?
No, this is intended to be a level playing field. Whether you're MoneyGram or you're a bank or you're an online or you're PayPal, this is intended to be a level playing field.
But the Secretary is right that at the core,
The fundamental financial regulations around KYC, or Know Your Customer, or AML, anti-money laundering, there has to be a level playing field, both for new entrants as well as legacy entrants. And I think that's really, that I think is a fair playing field for everyone to play within.
Level playing field.
A level playing field.
A level playing field.
IMF. Do you see IMF holding crypto assets in the future? I did not put that up there.
Remember, I'm from the legal department. I'm supposed to be very conservative about these things. I don't want to go into great details about
Maybe I should take what the IMF is going to do.
Space, we'll use a phrase that you may be familiar with. There's Bitcoin and then there's shitcoin. Are you familiar with that phrase and what people might mean by that?
I am.
So could you elaborate on how people would differentiate the two?
First of all, let me be clear. We very much support financial innovation, and anything that lowers payment processing costs, especially across border, is something that's very important. We discussed that a lot at the G7.
You know, you heard a little bit about the clearinghouse. What I might add is we've been around for a long time, 166 years. We've been operating payment systems. Started with check processing and moved to ACH and wire. And so we're the oldest by far. We were the Fed before there was a Fed. We used to print currency, store the nation's gold, do all the activities that the Fed does today. In fact, we helped stand up the Fed back in the day. In, I guess it was 1913. I was not here then. But as you heard, we clear and settle about $2 trillion a day. We are owned by 24 of the largest banks in the country, and I think a lot of you know that. But I think what's important to note is we service every bank who wants to use our services. We have about close to 500 banks that use our various payment rails. And let's face it, in the digital age, which is clearly what we are in today, our payment rails were developed 40 years ago. Pre-digital age, pre-internet, pre-everything. Actually, I find it amazing that I can order a package from Amazon, have it delivered faster than I get a payment from one bank to another. The fintechs are leveraging that vacuum, if you will. They're attacking that vacuum, but they're doing it kind of in a, I would call a Rube Goldberg-ish way. The consumer thinks the money's moved, but it hasn't. The money's not in the account. If it's going through the ACH rails, it could be a 3 or 4 day event.
A quick follow-up on the cores. And I know you guys have deepened discussions with those three, primarily those three, and a host of others. Rough time frames. I know you guys have been working to get this system implemented. What are they telling you roughly in terms of how quickly they could be partners on implementation?
I think this, the end of maybe this quarter, beginning of next quarter, they're going to start to light up. You know, they all have multiple systems.
Right.
So it's been tough. I think FIS has told us they're doing what's called mass enablement, so they will be able to light up, I think, all of their cores simultaneously. Mass enablement, so they will be able to light up, I think, all of their cores simultaneously. I might be a little bit off on that, but not by much.